Currently, many workers in nightclubs in Guangdong are being laid off. Nationwide, there is a crackdown on nightclubs, and places like Shanghai, Chengdu, Shenzhen, Wuhan, and many others have become primary targets. The main focus is on strict inspections of bathhouses and massage establishments offering paid services. After all, in China, there are 30 million single men. If nightclubs really shut down, where will so many nightclub girls go?
Why do those girls involved in business after stepping away end up living worse than before? To put it simply, after leaving, their income decreases. It's hard to transition from luxury to a simpler life, the quality of life doesn't keep up. The girls working in the city at night, the most frightening thing is that they get used to staying up late and drinking, developing bad habits. How can they get accustomed to a normal life? Doing easy things, making quick money, and spending when they go out. They want to buy whatever they want, with no habit of saving. When they run out of money, they say, okay, I'll work a few more days. When they have money, they buy a plane ticket to go out and take pictures. When they've had enough fun, they come back to work. They go on like this for several years without any purpose. Some girls, when they get older, wake up to the reality and realize they can't continue like this. They want to find a clean job, where they can earn a few thousand a month. After paying for transportation, food and rent, what's left is probably not enough to sustain themselves. If they look for a job with a higher salary, but their education level is lacking, what can they learn? They don't have the patience for that, and they're even less willing to endure hardships because they are used to making quick money. So they need to find a wealthy long-term partner. And if they can't find one, they will have to return to their old ways, falling into a vicious cycle.
How does a girl step by step fall into that situation? Today, I want to share with you the life trajectories of the girls I learned about in those places. At the beginning, you are just selling in a bar, very innocent. Barely able to touch anything. It's just accompanying clients to drink a little. Playing some small games. Then you see the performance of people around you improving, while you can only earn a little money. So you start to push your own boundaries for the first time to earn more. At this point, you really start to make a lot more than before. But every night you drink until very late. And you often vomit. So you begin to reflect. Is this really worth it? At that moment, through observations, you discover that the secret to others' improved performance is selling very expensive alcohol, leading to a significant increase. So, you start trying to sell to those wealthy guys. But after many attempts, you still can't make a sale. Later on, finally, one day, a 40-year-old uncle wants to put his arm around your waist. You initially refuse. But when you see the uncle's bill, you hold back. So the uncle starts to act inappropriately, and you reluctantly push him away when he gets too forward. You're happy when the uncle leaves, because it was a very productive day. A few days later, the uncle comes back, and you really dislike him, but he spends a lot of money. So you win, going up to give him a big hug. And he certainly doesn't disappoint you. The uncle spends a lot again. And this time you feel too shy to refuse some of the uncle's small actions. So he starts to elevate your status. And your life begins to improve. One day, the uncle invites you to a late-night snack. And you refuse. The uncle doesn't say anything more. And just like that, he never calls you again. You go back to the days of drinking and vomiting without earning any money. And you feel anxious. But you can't seem to take that step. Not long after, luckily, a handsome guy shows up. And you shamelessly manage to sell him drinks. This time, the handsome guy invites you to have late-night snacks with him. You don't refuse, telling yourself this isn't a transaction. It's just being pursued. It's normal to go out for a date. What's wrong with that? Don't you often get pursued by those poor guys at school? After a few dates, the guy stops coming. He doesn't look for you. And you begin to spill your frustrations about not being able to sell drinks, as you see life becoming unsustainable. Luckily, the uncle comes back again. This time you actively invite the uncle out for a late-night snack. And he had bought a lot of drinks from you before. So you start meeting more uncles and handsome guys. and your life improves more and more. One day, you hear your girlfriend say that at a KTV she switched to, they earn much more than here. But there will be some small actions from clients. You feel there might not be much difference. So you decide to try it. Sure enough, you earn significantly more there than here. Just tell a little story. Move your hands a bit, and money will come into your pocket. Your income doubles compared to when you were at the bar. But good times don't last. The tasks assigned by the manager will only yield commissions after completion. You begin to try asking clients for their WeChat, so they can book a room with you next time. But the result isn't easy. No one is looking for you. Eventually, you become an old employee, and the client resources in your hands keep increasing. But still, no one is booking rooms with you. After a long time, you finally discover the secret. Clients will only book rooms with the young girls they eat late-night snacks with. You don't know when it started, but you begin to often accompany clients for late-night snacks. And at this point, you really earn a lot more than before. However, you notice that the long nights and excessive drinking have made your skin rough, and crow's feet are starting to appear at the corners of your eyes. So you begin to panic. You start desperately taking care of your skin to rejuvenate your face, not knowing what to do if you lose this face. Even though you're earning much more than before, the money in your hands seems to vanish quickly. So you move your hands from the front to the back, which means you can go out. Of course, you're earning much more than before. You can buy all kinds of designer bags. Relatives and friends start to envy you, but you don't know when it started. You notice your body seems to be failing. You can only work once every few days, and the money in your hands is fading fast. So you start to think, if you can earn money without spending it, if there's a way to earn money without drinking, how great that would be. After all, you have to go on business trips every day, and still have to drink. Naturally, the center you go to receives 3 to 4 clients a day, without drinking, without harming your body. Just like that, you spent 2 years, and you find you are becoming less and less appealing in this circle. You regret not coming here earlier. You are no longer a girl in your 20s. What do you have to compete with others? Otherwise, you won't be able to stay in the center either. You went to a street massage shop, earning dozens of dollars for an hour. Did you see that? Step by step, it's so natural. Do you know what the biggest harm of these places is? It's that they continually lower your bottom line, corrupt your soul. You think you can hold on, but that's because you're in a normal circle now. Ordinary people don't have such strong boundaries. Once you change your circle, you naturally break your bottom line. You don't even need others to persuade you. In this line of work, there's very little regret. Do you know why? Because in that environment, you've already been assimilated. Your soul has already fallen. Finally, I want to tell everyone, making money is important. But the way you earn money is even more important. You can only earn a proper living in a legitimate industry.
Hello everyone. I am DJ Mai Mai. My God. Last night was the time I drank the most in my life. To the point of finishing the bottle. I don't even know how I got home. I'll have to ask the company when I get to work how I really got home. I only realized the next day that I really felt completely powerless. In our industry, we can choose to refuse to drink or not. But yesterday, since I met my friends, I ended up drinking too much. I couldn't control myself. After the birthday party ended, I went back to focusing on 2 private rooms. And while I was busy with those 2, I couldn't stop continuing to drink. Today, not only do I smell like alcohol, but I feel like the room, the bed sheets, seems like every corner has a very unpleasant smell. It might be that I'm just too sensitive. In this inverted routine, I don't know how long I'll have to endure this. So I really want to give up. I don't want to live this life anymore. I just want to find someone to marry. But I still can't make that decision. I'm afraid that one day I won't be strong enough. If I randomly marry someone, I'm afraid of not being treated well at my in-laws' house, without having any status. So, I ended up giving up that idea. I'll continue making my short videos. It was in an unexpected opportunity that I chose to be a content creator, recording my real life. One video. I was very lucky, with views exceeding 140,000. And that gave me more motivation, making me choose this side job. Actually, I'm a newbie. In the beginning, I didn't know how to monetize these videos. But it was really a slow process of discovery, little by little, learning gradually. If you persist in something, tomorrow everything will prove itself, and your dedication will have a reward. So for the sisters who want to do this, it's time to start. Well, I need to go pick up a package. With winter coming, I bought 2 thermal tops for myself, so I can keep warm, especially when we go back home for the new year. It really isn't possible to endure without one of these underneath. Otherwise, we'll freeze to death. These thermal tops have options with and without lining. We can choose. Since I'm a little more sensitive to the cold, I buy those with a bit more lining. Maybe some sisters prefer to wear something not too thick, so they can opt for the ones without lining. It's unbelievable. A thermal top that costs 30-something yuan, even with lining, has amazing elasticity. The most important thing is that, whether it's white or black, it looks so good on the body that it actually makes you look slimmer. This thermal top is perfect for people from the south and the north. It keeps us very warm, and it matches with any coat we wear. This thermal top in black and white is the best to match. So sisters who like it, hurry up and try it.
Why do many girls working in entertainment venues find their lives worse after leaving? To put it simply, it's because once they leave these places, their income decreases, and their living standards can't keep up. It's hard to transition from a life of luxury to a more modest one. The scariest part about working in a bar isn't just staying up all night drinking, but rather that once you develop those bad consumption habits, it's very difficult to return to a normal life. The girls who work in nightclubs feel like everything is very easy. They want to buy something and just buy it, and they don't have the habit of saving. When they run out of money, they work a few days, and when they have money, they buy a ticket and travel anywhere, taking photos with their friends. They go on like this, aimlessly. Years go by like this. Some girls, as they get a bit older, realize that their lives can't continue this way, that they can't go on like this. They start thinking about finding a decent job, earning a few thousand a month. If you consider transportation, food, and rent, it will probably be hard for them to support themselves. They look for a high-paying job, but with low education and no skills. If they try to learn something new, they don't have the patience for it and aren't willing to endure the hardships. Once they get used to making quick money, they really need to find a rich boyfriend. If they can't find a long-term financial supporter, they really will have to go back to what they did before. Is it acceptable for girls to work at night? I want to tell you a brutal truth. Especially when girls just enter the workforce, they should avoid bars, DJs, KTVs, and bathing centers. Don't go to any of those places. Many people will say, I have principles, I have limits, it's not a problem. But I tell you, this has nothing to do with principles or limits. You need to understand that people are products of their environment. Every day, you face excess and temptation. And when you see other girls accompanying men and receiving large amounts of money, you start to think, what's wrong with that? These girls are always surrounded by luxury items, designer bags, everything. Over time, you get used to it, and your limits begin to loosen. Let me tell you something. I know a friend who works in security, and everyone should know what that job entails. He's the type of guy who looks after escorts. One time he told me, hey, don't be fooled by these girls. They seem normal, but after I take them to a few nightclubs, it's just a matter of time before they change. They start wanting designer bags, designer jewelry, and you might think that holding firm will make a difference. These security guys are very good at leading respectable women down the wrong path. So, my sincere suggestion is that some girls really shouldn't get involved, shouldn't meet or have any contact with this. That's a tip I give you. However, we have to remember that everyone has their own way of life, right? You might say you don't care about these things and that you go to a respectable bar. But I tell you, no matter how respectable the bar is, when people get drunk, they act like animals, you know? You might be a dignified person, but a drunk man doesn't care. He might come up and do anything without caring who you are. So, it's essential to keep your distance from this kind of work. The principle is the same. Never think this won't happen to me. Let me give you another example. In China, there's a singer named Luo Qi. Everyone should know her. She's a rock singer, but one of her eyes is blind. Do you know how that happened? She was singing in a bar, and when someone was drunk, they accidentally hit her in the eye. So, if you can, keep your distance. It's really scary.
In the end, what is the outcome for the girls who work in nightclubs? Women who work in this environment face serious difficulties as they age. Don't be fooled by the fact that they may have a few pounds of flesh to sell now, nor should you envy their daily earnings of thousands of yuan. Most of the girls in nightclubs reach their 30s, and due to a decline in immunity and a weakening immune system, they begin to encounter health problems frequently. If they don't get married by the age of 35, it will be very difficult for them to find a partner throughout their lives. Therefore, those who live this way will eventually have to pay for it, sooner or later. Beyond the nightclub women, those who ruin other people's homes are even more unhappy. They may dress elegantly and attractively, but if you pass by them, you'll notice they emit an unpleasant odor, making it hard to get close. These women resemble contaminated rats, ultimately dying in a corner with no one to care. It's the law of return, right? The lazier they were in their youth, the more miserable they become in old age. Therefore, as a woman, you can be heartless, but you shouldn't be promiscuous. You can love intensely, but you shouldn't destroy. Some women fall in love with married men and can't break free. Others get involved with committed men. What should they do? Such women seem to have a built-in system of misfortune. They can't resist momentary pleasures and end up being looked down upon. So my friends, if you want to get rich, stay away from nightclub women. Keep your distance from those who intentionally ruin homes and from those who betray you. Recently, I read a comment from a viewer that makes perfect sense. A woman only matures when men stop buying her drinks, and that's true. Men will continue to buy drinks and flatter her as long as she is beautiful and young. However, they start to realize the poor choices they've made when men stop paying for them. At that moment, reality hits, and they understand that youth is not permanent. And so the cycle continues. Young women repeat the same mistakes, taking the place of the previous ones. This is a harsh truth, but it is the pure reality of the modern societal cycle. I want to know your opinion on this dilemma. Do you have any relevant thoughts that could spark engaging discussions in the comments? I'm looking forward to seeing your perspective. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.